You cussing with me?
No, you cussing with me?
Don't cuss and point
You're
at
gonna
me.
cuss with somebody. You're not gonna cuss with me, you little cuss.
With me.
Now, it might not look like it, but this movie tells a wonderful story filled with failure, acceptance, and learning to live with your wild side. Fantastic Mr. Fox has always been in the back of my mind since I was 9 when the movie was released, and there's a reason for it. The year the movie was released, you had big hitters, I mean big relatively. Movies such as Monsters vs. Aliens, Coraline, Up, and yes, even G-Force. Well, needless to say, it wasn't received very well. You wouldn't consider this to be a hit, especially considering just a year later, Tangled made more than 10 times as much as Fantastic Mr. Fox made, albeit with a much bigger budget. Yet even with the lukewarm reception it received, I would consider it to be one of the biggest highlights we've ever had in Western animation. I'm an absolute sucker for the stop motion of Coraline and Nightmare Before Christmas, so obviously there was a good chance I felt the same about Fantastic Mr. Fox. When I first watched the movie, I felt like I was doing something wrong. At the time, I wasn't able to watch anything that was remotely considered adult entertainment, so when I watched this, it felt wrong because I didn't quite understand everything. It felt like I was watching something made for someone who was older, yet there was enough playfulness to make it seem like it was age appropriate. Looking at this film, what would be your guess? Is it for adults or is it for children? Well, why can't it be both? Western entertainment has a fair stigma attached to it that something is either made for kids, families, or for adults, with a few exceptions, and still, to this day, you have to stay in your lane. This is especially true for animation. When was the last time you've seen a memorable film or show with an animation style that really stands out, or did something well with the medium of animation? If you don't remember, it was 2009. It was really after the CG boom of 2010, where a lot of the soul and passion became recipes for mass market box office hits. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, and I'm not saying that CG movies are inherently bad films, but it's sad to see the style of animation that adds so much personality are no longer here. Enter Wolfwalkers. Make no mistake about this film, it is made for children, yet this is some of the most wonderful animation I've seen in a long while. The reason Wolfwalkers stands out so much is because it feels like you're watching a children's book unfold. The background for many of these scenes is completely still, which only adds to the book's aesthetic the film has going. If you have the opportunity to get the book before watching the movie, I highly recommend it because looking at these scenes before they're animated really adds to the viewing experience. Overall, Wolfwalker's hand-drawn art style is exactly what I'm looking for from all these big studios, but looking at how much it made, looks like I won't be getting my wish anytime soon. Last but not least, Klaus. This is one of the most recent movies that really elevates the footprint of Western animation. While yes, this is another Christmas movie that once again tells the origin story of Santa, despite the retelling of the story, it's still a decent movie that sets itself apart with an incredible art direction. Believe it or not, everything that you see is 2D, and if you're interested, I'll leave a video linked in the description that shows you how they pulled it off. In spite of me complaining for nearly 5 minutes about how animation is no longer tailored towards me, I do recognize that there are some very strong CG films that have only bolstered Western animation, and if you're interested, I'll have an IMDb list of my favorite CG films listed below. And with that out of the way, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.